All right, beautiful divine beings, welcome back. I got some good news. I got a good show almost teed up here. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna touch on one of those taboo subjects, the South motherfucking Pole. This shit's got so much mysterious origins and so many, the New Schwab land or new whatever it's called, and 211 and the pre-Adamites, and is it Antarctica, or sorry, is it the Atlantis? Like, everyone's trying to say the Atlantis is in Africa with that. No, it's not. Okay, all these people are misleading you. You can feel it. I can feel it. People can feel it. It is not what we've been told. There's something down there, or maybe it was down there. And remember, what is that? 2012. All these elites flying down there, and what did they see? It's yeah. One can only imagine. So I got a video teed up. I'm going to share that. So this is Corey Good. He's on with Supernatural Girls. This is a recording from 9 months ago, I believe, and 8 months ago. There we go. So the time stamped. I'm gonna play a little bit just to you know just to give you guys some insight of what he shares. And it's amazing what this information this guy has, because not a lot of people are talking about it, and it's probably the most, well, I think it's probably the most important subject to man. Like, that is the origin stories of humanity: builder race, pre-Adamites, super AI, giants. Oh man, kid candy store, adults, Antarctica. I think that's how it goes for myself, and for the ones, the curious minds. Richard, what is it? Admiral Byrd, his stories, his journal, what he met down there, the Lord of all worlds, and what Buzz Aldrin going down there. What did that motherfucker say? He said it was pure evil. So just imagine. And what are those? What are those? The metal pyramids. Like, who knows what's down there? That's just testimony from Admiral E. Byrd's journal, and also paraphrasing what Buzz Aldrin said. So I'm gonna play this up. Don't mind my reactions. I've already listened to it. Everyone's probably already heard of it. I mean, it has what? It's only got 33,000 views. Okay, intense, interesting number too. So we're gonna tee it up right now. Let's have a listen.
Topic, and this is one of our audience's favorite topics. They want to know all about Antarctica. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, what do you want to know?
Yeah, what do you want to know? He says. Sorry, let's go back.
What in the world's going on there? I mean, people have talked about and leaked photographs of these huge stairways, obviously made for giants. All of those military people from all over the world are down there. Why are they down there? What's happening?
I don't know if I've seen the photographs you're referring to, but yeah, I mean, there was, over 55,000 years ago.
What happened here? We having a glitch? Oh, I didn't want this information out. Sorry, guys. We're gonna have to shut you down. You see? You see how this works? Once you get some juicy information and someone's trying to share that?
The Martians that I talked about earlier.
I turned the volume up.
Skulls. There was a solar cataclysm, and their planet was damaged badly. Atmosphere mostly stripped away. So in their last three motherships, which in the secret programs, they jokingly referred to them as the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. It brought all of these pre-Adamites first to the moon and then down to Antarctica, where there was an even more ancient ET, a mysterious ancient ET group base that had a lot of technology that they
Cubanos.
were studying and exploiting. And they crash landed there. All three of their craft crash landed, and they built Atlantis. The mythical Atlantis from the remnants of those craft. They cannibalized the craft and made an advanced civilization. And then over time it spread out, and they were really into genetics. So they started genetically splicing, creating all of these different giants.
What were they making?
Different chimera and mixtures. And, that was that was like one of their big technologies was, genetic manipulation. Well, at the end of the last cataclysm, about nearly 12,000 years ago, a giant wave went over Antarctica and flash flows. And then over the millennia, snow is piled on top of that. But when the wave crashed over that ancient civilization, it destroyed most of it, but parts of it preserved. And when we first discovered it, I remember when I was reading it on a smart glass pad, it was in the military program. It was this almost magical piece of technology to access information. They were referring to what they found under the ice as they called it a Pompeii on ice. And as many of you remember, Pompeii was, the island where the volcanic ash covered this whole civilization for millennia, and then it was discovered, I believe, in the 80s. Well,
right.
It was during the
it killed everybody.
In the 80s. Yeah, but during the 80s, I think is when they discovered a lot of this in Antarctica. And they found all of these bodies frozen and all torn up and beat up from rolling under waves and being thrashed about, all over the place, and destroyed buildings and a lot of remnants, pieces of technology that had all broken apart. And then they found areas that were preserved. And in one of those areas, they found the skeletons of one of these giant motherships. And inside them were hundreds of beings in a type of stasis. And some of them on the lower level were these actual, what they called pre-Adamites, or these progenitors from Mars in stasis. And then on each floor above them, they had their genetic creations in stasis. They had, some very strange beings in these chambers. But they discovered this, and they left it intact. And then they found remnants of living pre-Adamites, or whatever you want to call them, these ancient gods that the Cabal called them, that were taking care of the pods, these stasis pods, and were keeping certain religious texts safe and that sort of thing. So after that occurred, in the 80s, when they really started making contact with that living remnant of the pre-Adamite group, and they found all of these temple complexes that look Aztec, very Aztec. After they located this and excavated it some, you started having all sorts of different Cabal known leaders coming down to Antarctica. Mm-hmm. It was kind of like a Cabal Disneyland. They were all coming down and going through all of these, like a giant anthill of tunnels through the ice that they were traveling through, and they would come around a corner and you'd see a big Aztec building sticking, just partially exposed, and then they would see all of these wondrous things. And to them, they were going and walking in the footsteps of their ancient gods. So it was just it's this really big deal for them. So that's a lot of what's been going on. But in addition to that, we have old Nazi bases that were handed over to us, in the 50s and 60s, that secret American groups took over. And there are other countries that under the ice that have some amazing bases. They're using very advanced submarines that use electromagnetic propulsion like a UFO would, and they're as big as cargo ships, and they carry cargo containers, and they're ferrying stuff back and forth from these bases, through underground rifts in deep under the continents. It's
So there's
amazing.
a lot going on there. It's not just one thing. There's many things happening there.
Many things. And then we have military corporate types closer to the surface of the ice that have all these bio labs. They're developing all of these horrible genetic, horrible diseases. They're also playing around with cloning and doing some very unethical cloning.
They've had cloning since the 40s.
There's a lot of
George Green's on record for saying that, and a few other ones, that Donald guy.
Down there.
Now, we heard a story about John Kerry visiting this area, and that whoever was down there, whether it's pre-Adamites that were out of stasis, they didn't like him much. And from what we heard, they kicked him out and said, don't ever come back. And when his plane was taking off from New Zealand, there was a massive earthquake, and it was kind of a message, like, we mean what we say. That's a story. I don't know if this is corroborated anywhere, but that's one of the stories that's come out. And then another story. Oh, go ahead. No, there's another story.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. It's hard when we can't see each other. Well, the other story I just wanted to mention, which you may have heard about, is a production team that was there. And they disappeared. They were never found, but their tapes were found. And the military refused to return the tapes to the production company.
Imagine what's on those.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I've heard that one. Yeah, and also what a lot of people will find interesting is that from major universities in South America, North America, Europe, and Asia, some of the top scientists and researchers at the major universities have been brought to these locations, and they've been brought down there. They signed major NDAs, and they shot videos of them walking through, talking about what they're seeing, along with other experts. And I was told that someday these videos were going to be made public, and that these people are keeping quiet because they've been promised that they're going to go down in history, in the research history of, this ancient civilization that shouldn't exist. So there are a lot of people at different universities. I've had some people reach out to me that have spent time down there, that have all given me bits and pieces of information that are, very interesting. And I have a number of insiders from Antarctica that I'm speaking to right now, and working on actually, some television shows that, we're going to be doing, that we're going to bring forward some of these insiders that have seen the craziness in the UFO community and don't want to come forward. All the legit people don't want to come forward right now. If they do bring information forward, they want to be anonymous, and we found ways to guarantee their anonymity in doing these shows and documentaries. So in the next couple of years, a lot's going to start coming out about Antarctica. What I was told was that the videos that they had recorded of Antarctica and the different things that they found, frozen ancient animals in the ice, they're going to release that if a huge scandal or something pops out that's about to, really cause a huge
distraction noodle.
In their,
give them some crumbs.
World government
crumbs.
Transhumanist agenda.
Who wants some fucking crumbs?
Things like this set up to release as distractions. So whenever you see some big information released from the government in their right hand, holding it, immediately try to get a good look at what's in their left hand, because it's always a distraction.
Yeah. That is so true, Corey.
Was COVID a distraction for something, in your opinion?
Wait for this one.
I think it was a act of war and a catalyst to be able to fully implement track and trace, which is a huge part of the One World Government's agenda, to be able to track and trace every individual. So track and trace is a huge part of this, being able to electromagnetically track people. So that's a big part of it, and also through the fear and the emergency of the illusion of emergency, they were going to bring forth a lot of their fascist infrastructure changes out of the benefit of humanity, they would say, but it was actually just setting up the walls around us, the structure around us. Of our
This
own
is
prison.
for your safety.
Right.
That's
Goodness
when you know
me.
it's.
Now, what about these pre-Adamites?
That's coming
Whose
next.
side are they on? Are they part of this support for the cabal and the Nazis and whoever else nefarious is down there? I mean, I also heard a story, this is an interesting one, that when the military obviously is there all the time now from all different countries on our planet, and there was a big evacuation that took place, like red alert. The sirens went off and they had to get everybody out because the rumor was that one of these beings was coming out of stasis. So I was just wondering, what if they come out of stasis?
Well,
Whose side will they be on?
They're
all out.
Stasis already. Yeah.
Oh, so they're already out.
Yeah, the cabal went and basically turned off the machines and brought them out of stasis because they were afraid of what was going on, with, the everything with the Orion group, that their plans for this one world government, transhumanist government, was not going as smoothly as they expected when they have gods helping them, So they went to their old god to wake them up to find out what to do. But these pre-Adamites, these ancient Martians, they fell to this transhumanist agenda far before we were ever conceived as a civilization.
Time and time again, circles and cycles.
To the transhumanist agenda. They injected themselves with nanites. They worshiped this AI. They went the dark path. These beings did not go the positive path. They went the negative service to self path, and they're still stuck in that, and they're of the same frequency as the reptilians and the grays and the humans, the negative humans. Let's not forget that these ETs are really bad, but humans can be some of the biggest monsters, in the universe.
Quite possibly the real virus.
No question. That's true. Unfortunately, it's true.
They're afraid of us. They don't want us flying around in space right now. We're dangerous, unpredictable.
We are. Yes, they should be afraid.
It's sad.
Mm-hmm. So all of these things are now out of stasis, wandering around down there. And so what is their agenda going forward? Is it to enslave us the way they were enslaved?
Well, they weren't very happy about being awakened. They were in that stasis chamber they were trying to wait out the next solar event, which is supposed to happen in the next 10 years.
2040.
This solar event's overdue. So the solar event has a huge effect on their nanites, and it also affects the actual timeline. And they were hoping that humanity was going to choose a negative timeline, and that after the solar flash occurred, it would lock in that timeline, and they could come out and pick up where they left off. But they were awakened before the solar event, and they freaked out, and they were removed from Antarctica by this galactic super federation type of group of advanced ET beings that are supposed to be policing and governing trade and interactions between civilizations in our galaxy, but they hadn't been doing their job as they should in the past. But they are now, because we're getting close to the solar event, they're starting to become a lot more active.
So what can we expect from them? I mean, it doesn't sound like they're going to be our best friends, but it also doesn't sound like they're very pleased with the cabal at this point.
Oh, they mad.
It's right now, yeah, they're not. They weren't very pleased with the cabal, but right now, they've been removed by positive ETs. They're going to go through some sort of trial at some point, so they're pretty much off the table. They're not on the playing field right now. The main ones that we're dealing with are the Orion group, and they're connected with the reptilians and these insectoid groups, and they're manipulating our consciousness and creating fear, and the planet, turning the planet into like a giant power source for them and this AI god they worship. Because when we put out misery, pain, and fear, they absorb it, and this energy goes to the other realm where their AI god is, and it feeds off of it. What? And each of these beings that have these nanites and brain chips, they get an energetic kickback.
Damn.
And a high and sustenance, and so they're feeding off of it as well. So they're like heroin addicts, and if we found a way to shut off, as some of our cosmic cousins, they were in the same situation as us on other planets, and they overcame these beings. And what we have to do is find a way to shut off all the fear. If we become angry, it's okay. If we're angry at them, and if we want them off our planet, that changes the energy. They're no longer feeding on us.
Nice.
But if we stop the misery and the fear and which all this propaganda is helping perpetuate, that's going around, these beings, they're like heroin addicts. If you cut off the heroin, they go into this horrible withdrawal state, and they're within a few days, they're no longer a threat.
So we need to starve them out.
Yes. And the best way to do that, the best way to do that is to unplug from all of this propaganda and information that is most of it, 90% of it is total BS. And your emotions are growing and building off of total BS, and you're feeding these beings. You're feeding them. Unplug from all of it and just focus on, inward growth, as well as protecting your home from all of these negative entities.
Okay, so we're going to stop it right there. Let's first off unpack what he talked about. Okay, the giants, that shit's real. Okay, where's the evidence? Why are they withholding this? There's huge scandals happening right now with the crypto financial system. Like, now would be the time to use that little ace up their sleeve, right? Disclose that to the public. Give the people what they want. That is probably the most intense, awesome, informative interview on a radio show. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, folks. Confirming everything. Just wait till they drop or wait till they confirm what Admiral Byrd found and what he's seen and experienced. Who's got his diary? What is it? His son? That's powerful stuff, man. I mean, that is amazing. This is, humanity will probably never be ready for it, but it needs to happen. Everyone needs to raise their vibrations and bring it up to a certain level where they can handle the massive onslaught of information and essentially make everyone question their entire paradigm. That's what people need to do. That's almost what I do every day. People try and have a regular fucking conversation with me, and I can't stand their goddamn small talk. Sorry for the profanity. I can't stand the small talk about weather or, hey, did you see the recent episode of Yellowstone? Like, no, man, I don't watch that garbage. Okay, I'd rather invest my time in, expanding my mind and changing my perspective every day. So, you got a shotgun approach. There's some truth, motherfucker. That's the shit that I love. I mean, people can't handle shit, and I see them question their entire existence, and they're quiet. They walk away, and it's probably the best thing because dealing with normal people, or whatever you want to call them, sleepers, background people, I think would be a more appropriate term. Dealing with these individuals who have no concept of how this world was, how it works, and they still believe in the regimes pulling the strings and all of these negative ETs that exist and the positive ETs, and do not be fooled by man. That is the most important thing everyone needs to pull from here, because humanity has been tainted. Greed and lust and keeping you in those lower vibrational chakras, right? Because once you get past the third and fourth one, and you know how to activate your oils and secretion and dial in on that higher frequency, they got no control of you. That's the shit they don't want you learning. And now it seems like this is the awakening, but it's more like the reawakening. I'm not sure if people realize, but we've made a soul contract to come onto this realm. Some people just are here by circumstance, right? Their rotation and repeat till they learn their lessons. Some people decided to come here. Can you imagine leaving such a high-powered, palace, or an area where you had no worries, to come down to this realm, deal with people who have no idea what they're talking about, no idea what realm they're on, and individuals who just, bread and circus all fucking day. I don't know if people can understand that, but that's the shit that drives me nuts. After looking into this for almost a decade, probably two, that's the time. That's where I spend my time. Is always the quest of learning and understanding different perspectives and people's stories, and this man's story, and the evidence. I want to see the videos. I can't wait for that stuff. And this is what people should be devoting their time to, not watching episodes of Yellowstone and shooting the shit about pointless stuff that has nothing, like hockey players and baseball players. There is people that I know that know more about a baseball player's annual income than they knew about spiritual growth in a motherfucking chakra and aligning your raising your kundalini, right? What is that? Yeah, people just, oh man, try having a conversation with those people. I can't stand it. It irritates. It's irritating is what I find. But those are some things I wanted to go over, and it absolutely mind blowing. I know, right? It's almost confirming what I've come across and what other stories are out there. There's a slow drip disclosure coming, but you got to understand, these people aren't going to tell you everything. They're going to keep that ace, that big daddy card up their sleeve, because they don't want you knowing. Because if you know what they know, then that control, humanity's sick. They want that fucking control over you so you could dance to their puppets. We're all puppets to their master sick fucking plan. We could change that. Everyone can change that if they took the time, they unplugged, disconnected from the internet. I'm trying to do a new thing this week and just avoid technology. I mean, it's kind of difficult because there's so much information. We literally have all this information at the tip of our fingertips, and we use it for stupid videos that doesn't mean a thing, right? Waste our time. Once you realize, time doesn't exist, and that's the only thing you never get back out in this realm. So you understand how important your I hate to use the word or the term time, but you realize how important your energy is. And once you invest that into either yourself or, helping others, that's what it's all about. If people helped others as much, one person helped someone a month or twice a month, whatever your circumstances is, it's small things, just humanity looking out for each other. That's the shit we lost. We're individuals out here are more devoted to service to self, and that shit needs to change. We've been corrupted by our TVs. Everyone should almost destroy their TVs and take no orders from them. Can you imagine what kind of existence we would have and the world we would be maintaining right now? None of this would happen. There's so much. Try to unpack all that. It's a lot, I know. That's all. Thank you for viewing, and if there's any copyright issues, I'm going to put a disclaimer on one of these videos. I'm recently new to it, so I don't know how it works, but I'm going to do another video on this people should be looking into Admiral Byrd, Operation High Jump, the motherfucking dome that's above us with the firmament. Look at Werner von Braun's tombstone. Was that Psalms? I can't remember. It was 91. There is a biblical passage on his tombstone. Look that up if you're unaware of it. It may not be well. It is flat, but it could be infinite, right? We live in an infinite plane. Portals are real. Raise your frequency to access them, and there's certain chants and mantras and things that can elevate you to your consciousness. That's where we need to go. That's the direction I would love to go in. Well, I'm currently trying to correct myself into, and make these videos to share them with people who have no fucking clue how this system is designed. It's not designed for you to win. I want you to know that. So it's going to crumble because it's like a 243 or a 6,000 year cycle that is designed to collapse. And then they'll bring in some new system that'll further enslave individuals as their timeline runs out. Because I do believe it's either 2025 or 2040 is when the solar event's going to happen, and it's going to change humanity as we know it. So it's nothing to be scared of. These are supposed to be educational and guide you. You have the answers within you. That is the most important thing. The answers will always be from within. And once you do your shadow work and you clear all your traumas, you can learn to grow forward and getting closer in touch with source, right? That's the purity we want. That's the shit we had. And it was taken from us, like candy taken from a baby. Now look at us, infants, don't know what to do and lining up for things that we don't need and spending our time and energy on nothing of importance. That is very unfortunate, and that very disappointed, actually. Disappointed in humanity. Bad humanity. Should not be going that way. We need to turn this around. Otherwise, there's no plan B, right? I don't want to say there's no alternative. The alternative is what we're experiencing now. I hope people understand that. This is what happens when you forfeit your rights. It's a whole nother subject. I'm rambling. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you for tuning in.